Okay, TP2 here. I am going to dehydrate some onions. Obviously you want to peel them, get the outer skin off, and I take off that other layer, the next layer also. And some of the smaller ones I'm doing kind of a sideways. This is a mandolin. If y'all don't have a mandolin, that's a handy little dude. Anytime you use the mandolin though, always use the safety handle thing. That sucker right there will cut you. So always be careful. I know, grown men say we're tough, whatever. Man, it'll get you. It comes with this particular one. And I will put a link to it below the video. This one comes with 3 different blades. It's got a thin, medium, regular, and then this one evidently does a little julienne thing when it goes through. It cuts it that way also. Coming through here and cutting them up with the mandolin. Let's see if I can do this with one hand. I doubt it, but I'll give it a shot. Nope, not really. Works a whole lot better if you're holding it with the other hand. But you can see what it does. It cuts up the onions in slices. I've got this set on medium. And some of them, I've already put one tray on the dehydrator. I'm overlapping. I'm just not being real careful with it, mainly because I am crying like a baby too. I know I should have put them in the freezer first, but I just got way too many. I am doing it outside. I've got my dehydrator outside on the back deck, and it's going to be 100 degrees, 97 today. It's been between 95 and 100 for the last 2 weeks. So I figure the little dehydrator is probably not even going to have to work that hard, because Mother Nature's going to get most of it done. But anyway, I'll show you once I get the trays full and get them in the dehydrator. I will show you that. But this is the first time for me to dehydrate onions, so we'll see how it goes. They will probably, I'll store them in a, just take you over here. We dehydrated some tomatoes. Okay, and sealed them with the Foodsaver sealer with the jar attachment. I don't think they call it a canister attachment. I believe they call it the jar, mason jar attachment. And I've got one for wide mouth and regular mouth. I'll put links to those, to a Foodsaver and to the jar attachments too. It's got a little hose that runs to it. Put that little thing down on there. Put a lid on it. Put that little thing on top of it. Turn your vacuum sealer on canister, and man, it sucks that dude down. So these are some tomatoes we dehydrated. She did a couple of jars, and then put one jar in olive oil. Just filled it up with olive oil and put the tomatoes in there. It's supposed to be, I don't know. I don't know what it's supposed to be. Anyway, but I do have the turn this around. That's my trombone squash. I do have the Excalibur dehydrator, and man, that is the dehydrator to have. There are better dehydrators, commercial, but it's going to cost you, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars, if not thousands. This is a couple of $100, $250, something like that, and it's a 9 tray. We've had it for probably 5-6 years, and man, it does a great job. It really dehydrates well. So I'll put a link to that one also, to the Excaliburs, a couple of Excalibur dehydrators. And again, I've got that sitting out there on the deck on a little table. And we're going to dehydrate some onions. And when I get them all in the dehydrator, I'll show you that, and then I'll wait a few days or a couple of days or just one day, how long it takes, and show you the finished product. Okay, I've got all the onions in the trays, got the dehydrator on. This is a 600 watt, so conceivably, if worse comes to worse, I could use my solar power to to use it, to run it at only 600 watts. However, worst comes to worst, I will build a solar dehydrator. But this is just one way to store onions. My wife suspends onions in pantyhose, and that's all I'm going to say about that. Okay? That's all I'm going to say. Anyway, that is one way to do it. You might want to choose a darker shade of pantyhose. Here is the Excalibur dehydrator, and you put the little front on it, and it's done. And you know, this is my first time doing onions. We've done peppers and tomatoes and corn and a lot of other stuff, but first time I do onions. I have read and seen videos. Some say you need to blanch them. Others have said you don't. You know, they may discolor a little bit not being blanched. We'll just have to see, and I will show you that when they're done. And but anyway, this is dehydrating onions, and just any way you want to do them. We got those things everywhere. You got some hanging up over there too. I think we better go now. Okay, it's 8:30, and I started these probably a little before noon. I would say 11:30, and man. In fact, I came out here and looked about 5 hours later, and they looked nearly done to me. They hadn't really changed at all in 5 hours. But that is, they're just kind of leathery. I don't know whether they're supposed to get real hard, like some things do when they're dehydrated. You know, it's still, we're probably leaving it here all night. I may cool it down. I've had it at 125, and I forgot to tell you that. But I'll probably will cool it, let it run all night at a little cooler than that. But I tell you what, being outside, man, that is the way to go. Especially in the summertime. These things dehydrated in no time because they were juicy. So y'all try some dehydrated. I've got 9 trays of onions. We will vacuum seal them into the jars, and they all look mighty good. All look mighty good. You can dehydrate your own, or you can do them the other way. It's up to you. Okay, it's the next morning. I've removed the onions from the dehydrator trays. I put them in jars. Got a few of them laying out here for you. They look just like they did last night. You can kind of hear them. They feel a little leathery, dry, but not just brittle dry. I mean, it'll break, it'll snap apart, but they're not. It's not real brittle like you would think. But very leathery, very, very dry, and they look just like they did last night. So what my point is, I think that on a hot day like we had yesterday, drying these outside, and if we'd have done it inside, man, this whole place would have reeked of onion. But doing it outside on a 95, 97 degree day, I think they were done in about 8 hours. I don't think there's any doubt they were done in about 8 hours. So you might want to check them if you're doing them outside, and if you have some heat like we're having right now, you may want to check them. Otherwise, it takes probably 12 hours or more. And these onions were pretty juicy. They were dried out. It's been sitting outside for a while drying, but they still, as I was cutting into them, they had a lot of water in them. So my point is, and what I think is just an amazing thing, you're looking at over 20 onions in those jars. 2 jars, over 20 onions. And I'm not talking about little old dinky onions. I'm talking about that's less smaller than a baseball. But I'm not talking about golf ball size onions. I'll give you, that's a wide mouth lid. So, but some of them were bigger than a baseball and as big as a softball, just about 20 onions. So that's amazing. Okay, I'm going to seal these up and vacuum these out and show you how to do that. Okay, this is our Foodsaver, and this is an older one. This is a V2830 in case you're taking notes. But we have found it to be, we don't use it every day or anything, but we have found it to be just a heck of a machine. The ones they sell now, and I'll put some links below to a couple of different models probably. They've got some that look a lot better than this white one sitting on the counter. They've got some stainless steel and there's some that hang up on the wall, and this one might also if we did it, but this white, my wife didn't want to hang it up on the wall because we have stainless steel and such. But anyway, all you do with this canister attachment, put the lid on. Just put just the lid, no ring. Canister with the canister attachment has a hose. I think when you buy this, the hose comes with it. I think. Put the hose in that. Doing this one-handed now. Set that down on there. I'm going to close the machine, which makes the blue lights come on, which makes this go on. That's a canister button. So I hit the canister button. About 20 seconds later, I have got a sealed jar. See if I can pull that off. Okay, you heard the hiss. And again, see if I can pull this off. Pull the lid off. And it's, you know, put a ring on if you want to, there's no sense in it. But the fact that we're going to be reusing it, cooking and such, we might put a lid on it. But that, I think, is a great way to seal your food up. And I'm not talking about just dehydrating onions, but dehydrating other things also. Canister attachment down on it. I'll put a link to this. This is the wide mouth. I'll put a link to the wide mouth. I'll put a link to the regular mouth. Canister attachment, and then I'll put a link to the Foodsaver that has the canister ability to do the canisters. 20 seconds later, you can hear it sucking out the air, and 20 seconds later it's done. I would say those onions will last many, many years. I'm not going to guarantee anything because I don't really know, but I would think they would last a long, long time. So I would say get to dehydrating some things. Again, like we did the tomatoes, we've done peppers. There you go, it came out with one hand. I'm afraid I'm going to raise it up and break that jar on this granite countertop. Anyway, you get the idea. I'll pull it off when I've got two hands free. Dehydrated onions. Now, they don't, you know, they're not snow white, but I took out the step of blanching them. I just don't understand why you need to blanch them. I think most things you blanch because they discolor a little, but they look pretty good to me. Now, I don't know about you know how your color is on your computer or whatever, but they look pretty dang white to me. But that is dehydrated onions. Those can go just like that into soups and stews. You can rehydrate in water, and I bet you can saute them. In fact, I think my daughter says she uses stuff she buys, dehydrated onions, and puts them in when she's doing steaks and stews and you know, just a little bit. It doesn't have to be a stew. A real watery thing can be something that has some olive oil and grease and stuff in it. So you might want to give this a shot and do some dehydrating. And some of the other videos I watched are just a little more, I don't know, a little more difficult. They were slicing them by hand. I'm a big believer in that mandolin. They were blanching them, and I just don't see why you blanch them when you have a product that looks that good. So I'm kind of all for that, just like it is. Okay, takes a prep or two. We're gone.